Has Blizzard really changed? What's the future for World of Warcraft? That's a question we are trying to answer today. And yeah, there was an interview between Preach and Blizzard, and this is actually very, very interesting for those of you that have seen it. And they gave like a lot of interesting feedback to Preach. And yeah, let's have a look at how Blizzard has changed actually.
Oh my goodness, I'm sure you've all seen it. Blizzard has opened its doors to a series of exclusive interviews with Preach Gaming. Blizzard has changed, they cry. But have they really? Have Ian Hazacostas and the Warcraft team really woken up to their failures? Or is it all just more empty words and future disappointment? Well, let's get right into it with the good. Throughout the interviews, we've gotten a first-hand look into how Blizzard sees their game, and, more importantly, what they are doing to change it. First up was freedom. One giant change Blizzard is making in Dragonflight, and one we have seen already in the beta. Gone are the days of having to do attunement questlines to unlock zones like in Argus, or having to level your reputations through world quests just to unlock the next phase of content.
All this is just there with a sense of freedom to explore it as you see fit. For some people, maybe you're going to focus on getting raid ready during the first couple of weeks, and you'll come back and check out the renown tracks later, because there are mounts or dragon riding skins or other things you want to unlock. Or again, if you're someone who's really focused on professions, there are specific recipes. If you're a leather worker, you're going to want to work on that centaur renown to get some of the leatherworking recipes from there. So it's all of the same philosophies are there. It's just we don't have that artifact power, that, soulbind renown, that thing that is just hitting everyone over the head with being.
And that's exactly what I like in MMOs in general. Like, if you have like little extras you can unlock from like reputation grind or something, but there's nothing game changing connected to it. Like, let's say you unlock a dungeon or raid, or you only get the best in slot skills or gear or something when you like grind reputation for something. Like, this is something I hated with the Covenants in Shadowlands. You had to actually grind for it, and if you like switched your character and you made an alt or you changed your main or something, you had to do this again on one. And then at some point they introduced where you can buy like the renown, I think it was like 60 points was like the latest, right? And then you're only missing like 20 points till a maximum, but it was still annoying, and you had to do those dungeons to get those powers, and then you had to like it was a grind. It was annoying, and I would have rather seen like unique transmogs, perhaps mounts and stuff you can unlock from doing this grinding stuff, right, in reputations, and not something that increases your power level or helps you progress in the game. So yeah, like little extras with grind is totally fine. Progress with grind, I hate it. And yeah, by the way, guys, if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to hit that subscribe button.
Being completely mandatory regardless of your playstyle. And again, that gets back to, we don't want to force players into content that they don't inherently enjoy. We want to let you play the game the way you want to play the game.
Freedom.
Finally, we can once again explore the world at our own pace and slow down a bit to enjoy the Dragon Isles with all its exotic beauty and juicy secrets. Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty of players out there that find the Drakfir exotic and juicy.
Yeah,
from what we've seen in Dragonflight, this ideology shift appears to be seeping into all parts of WoW. An MMO on rails, no more. Going forward, WoW is focusing on exploration and letting the player loose on the world. Blizzard is taking a hands-off approach to their players and not forcing them into areas that they don't want to play in. Next up, we have spreading out the gear. Going forward, there will be a smaller power gap between low and high-end gear. Crafted items and those earned from world content will be higher item level and closer to the elite gear, giving players more routes to upgrade from sources other than raids and Mythic Plus.
We do want...
Yes, finally crafting matters. Like, have you guys also felt like in World of Warcraft, each expansion they killed more and more of crafting? Like, crafting became less important at some point. Like, for what did you need crafting at endgame? Only for like your legendary, right? From like Thorghest and stuff. Like, but for what did you really need crafting? There wasn't so much cool stuff you can craft, and like the gap was just too high. Like, it was way better to just spam M+ dungeons and gear up this way and wait for weekly world than to get anything crafted. And now you can actually craft stuff or buy this so you can get like closer to end game, right? And then you can focus on different things or like unlocking new mounts and stuff, doing PvP. That's good.
Plus,
we do want outdoor play and certainly professions to be able to push farther into that track than they ever have before. I think at times in the past it's felt like if you were a solo player, you kind of capped out at maybe you could get a couple of normal mode raid pieces, and otherwise you were like 30 eye levels behind the Mythic Raider.
Yeah.
That's, I think, too large a gap. And something
10 is better. 15.
That's a pretty good thing. Yes, craftsmen of Azeroth, our gear will no longer come from the raids of sweaty basement dwellers, but from our own Cheeto-covered hands as we craft away in our mum's basement. Then we had focusing on evergreen content. Throughout the interviews, Blizzard talked at length about how they are moving away from borrowed power and into improving and adding to their old progression systems that have been around since vanilla. Systems like talents and professions are getting completely reworked in Dragonflight to make them relevant and meaningful once again.
And more build
For years
options.
we've been begging for the old talents and old professions to make a return, and Blizzard is finally working on them. And thank God for that. Once more, you can carefully craft your talents to your playstyle, perfecting a build unique to yourself. At which point
And
you'll probably
nice
copy a
secondary
build from
effects
Icy
to
Veins or
skills.
Wowhead. Now with that out of the way, let's get into the part you clicked on the video for, the bad. Now before all of you get too excited,
What's
there's
bad?
still a lot to talk about, and there is a lot that was unaddressed or ignored in these interviews. A handful of fixed issues, and a mountain of unaddressed ones. Major problems in the game weren't brought up at all during the interview, and have no sign of being worked on by Blizzard. Issues such as leveling, which used to be such a core part of the game, has slowly been whittled
Excuse me.
down since Legion. Here,
Ducks.
staying mean.
You know, it's funny. Like, a lot of people freaked out that there were, like, no ducks or something. Like, this is like a meme almost, right? They said, oh, there are no ducks in World of Warcraft. And just for, like, meme reasons and stuff, like, as a joke, they actually added ducks to freaking World of Warcraft. This was so unnecessary, right? But at the same time necessary, because, like, someone just pointed out, and it just became a meme. Oh, WoW has no ducks, but there's so many lakes in Azeroth and stuff. Like... what's going on? There's so many rivers, so many lakes, but no freaking ducks. You know what? Let's just add ducks to the game, and there we go. Now we have them.
Down since Legion. Gear staying meaningful from patch to patch and not being outdated as soon as a new raid tier is
Like,
released.
this was funny when
as
they
well as
added it.
sharding and community
Less
interaction.
patch.
These are all important issues that unfortunately were absent from these interviews. Lots of words, but not much action. The interviews are full of explanations for past choices without giving concrete details of the path forward. Throughout the video, Preach and Ian discuss problems in the game without actually discussing how they're being solved. Now, this may be because Blizzard wants to play their cards close to their chest, which is reasonable. However, because of that, I remain a little unconvinced by what they say. Actions speak louder than words.
True.
Players have been burned quite a few times before. As an analogy, you could say that over the last decade, Blizzard has been a bit like that ex that you keep coming back to. You tell your buddies that they've changed and it's okay. Then after a few weeks, you remember why you broke up in the first place.
Wow.
Now, once again, the ex is back and saying it's different this time. I'm sure it will be. So what does this all mean? Well, for starters, Blizzard is not off the hook yet. The community remains extremely wary of, well, anything Blizzard does or
negative
says.
changes.
It's going to take years of work just to build back the trust to where it was in Legion, let alone build it back to where it was in, I don't know, Kata or Wrath. That would be a monumental task. Though at the end of the video, Preach did mention that Blizzard is planning their path to redemption up to over a decade into the future. A decade? I might be dead by then. A new and open Blizzard. From this video,
It's not
what
gonna
we've
be that
seen
long.
is
3-4
a new
years
open
maybe.
approach to community interaction from Blizzard. Ever since
Like, I think the best way for redemption is of course, like Dragonflight, if there are any like other phases being released, patches, make them good, and make the expansion, or at least 2 expansions after Dragonflight, good as well. If they release 2 or 3 good expansions, like another one after Dragonflight, this is already redemption, because after 2-3 expansions, like a lot of people will have almost forgotten. Like, wait, what was it again 5-6 years ago? I just remember the good last 3 years or so. Like, a lot of people like this, and what is like new players enter the game, right? Like, one thing that Blizzard really needs to do with their well-established games, and this includes also Diablo, of course, and Overwatch is like maybe less of an issue here, but like the fantasy worlds of Diablo, of World of Warcraft, same with like StarCraft in a way, right? Like what they have to do, and this is very important, they need to make it new player friendly as well. Like introduce people to World of Warcraft, but give them enough background info and maybe make some sort of campaign or something for new players that summarizes everything in short that has happened on Azeroth until this expansion or something. Or make like a whole independent plot start somewhere that has nothing to do with the past or something. Kind of like a World of Warcraft 2 at some point. I'm still hoping for that, yeah, I know. But yeah, we need to get a lot of new players into the game, because keeping all players around is one thing, but they also need to keep in mind that there were like some older players as well in their 30s and 40s that started around Wrath of the Lich King or before, and they're getting much older now. Some are maybe no more gamers and stuff. Like we need to attract the youth as well. We need to get like 20, 19-year-olds and 22-year-olds. Like we need to get them to also check out World of Warcraft and become permanent players, right? And I think this is very important for Blizzard to also achieve this goal, to get like new players to get to know World of Warcraft, or maybe pick this as their first MMO.
Since the 90s, Blizzard has always preferred to stay tight-lipped and keep a distance from PR. Interviews have been short, with pre-discussed questions and topics, and generally uninsightful information. The community has been ecstatic to get personal interviews like these with WoW's lead-in faces. I mean, these commenters said it best. Just take a look. So here we have Frodini, I hope I'm saying that right. Great job interviewing.
It was a good interview.
I really enjoyed the format, and it felt more genuine than just throwing out 10 to 15 pre-approved questions. I honestly have a good feeling about the future of this game. Smiley face. So here's DS Carno, and he says, these are some real feeling interviews. They took a huge risk with this. I bet PR is sweating right now. Yeah, probably, mate, probably. And here we have Survival. Oh, I get it. This is one of the most important videos for WoW.
I actually think they didn't take a risk, because Preach is a nice guy, and they probably knew he was like not so someone that's going to completely like make them look horrible or something. Like he's actually nice to talk with, and if you have seen like some podcasts with Preach and others, like he's a very nice talker with others and stuff, and it's very cool to discuss stuff with him. So I think they knew already before this interview with who they are dealing with, right? So yeah.
Survival. Oh, I get it. This is one of the most important videos for WoW ever. To see devs talk as humans and people who love the game, not with corporate talk, but just simple talks with the like-minded.
It felt
makes
loose.
them seem
it felt
much
like
more natural.
not like a
Preach
stiff
and his
interview.
team have done a fantastic job of showing this. Very insightful. Well, hopefully Blizzard will continue to have interviews like these that show the community what goes on behind the scenes and helps everyone get a little more perspective, both on their side and ours. So what are your thoughts on the new era of Blizzard and WoW? Is it all gonna be a massive disappointment? Or are you hyped for Dragonflight? Let us know in the comments below.
I'm super hyped, and why is there an ad now? Okay, it's gone. And yeah, like this interview was really good, and I think now it's actually way better what they're gonna do and stuff. Because if they now see that a lot of players are returning and staying around, and they are like getting a lot of positive feedback, and now it's actually the time to give Blizzard, even though maybe some people are like, oh, you have completely disappointed the past. But if you give them like a little bit of praise and stuff, and like, oh, you have done well, and like a pat on the shoulder, right? Like, good job, or something. Maybe they're gonna do more good stuff and listen more to the players, because they see, oh, with this direction, we're actually more successful because we make people happy, and the people make us happy because they're happy, or something like that. It's kind of like what goes around comes around, right? If you give something good back, and then you receive good from it, then you know you received good from doing good. That means you do more good, right? Like, that's the logic behind that. So maybe it's actually good if we do give them, like after a lot of complaints, like maybe some compliments now. Maybe they deserve it. I mean, I enjoyed the Drake Evoker. I think it's cool. At first I was upset that I can only be one class on the Drake. I was like raging about that. I was super mad. I wanted my freaking Drake warrior with the giant sword and stuff. But it didn't turn out like this. But Evoker is cool. It's chill. I like it. I'm a dragon caster now. And it's okay. It's okay. But yeah, I think Blizzard is going the right direction. And even though some people are also not so happy about Overwatch 2 and stuff, I think Overwatch 2 is not as horrible as some people said it's going to be as well. And when it comes to Diablo 4, let's see. I'm also a bit worried about the direction of Diablo. Because Diablo was such a big hit in like the early stages. Diablo 1, Diablo 2 was the blast. Diablo 3 was okay at launch, but over time it got worse. And I think Diablo 4 and 5 are also the last titles to actually kind of like change the direction before, yeah, this franchise goes down. Let's see what they're gonna do with the other games as well. I'm very curious, and yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think about Blizzard and the future of World of Warcraft and their other games. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give this one a thumbs up. I wish everyone a wonderful day. I will see you guys next time.